Well, if you are in the market for a luxury SUV which offers you a long list of features, solid engineering as well as a very solid build quality, then the new VW Tiguan is a car that you should check out. Essentially, this is a rival to the BMW X1, the Mercedes GLA as well as the Audi Q3. But the big question is this car really worth its sticker price, and can it actually outshine its more established and more illustrious rivals? We'll find out on the show today. Well, as soon as you step inside the Tiguan, you will be completely blown away by the sheer quality of this car. It really is a very high-end cabin, and it can easily outlast the BMW X1 as well as the Mercedes GL in terms of overall build quality. And I have to say that it can even put the Audi Q3 to a solid run for its money when it comes to overall quality. Yes, it is a very high standard cabin over here. Well, not only is it a very good cabin in terms of quality, it's also very good in terms of features. This car comes with 3-zone climate control, it comes with multiple airbags, it comes with hill descent assist, it also comes with auto hold, and the list is really endless. It's a long features list. You should head to our website to find all of them out. But one feature which is worth mentioning is also the 8-inch screen over here, which really is a nice and very intuitive to operate screen. And it also gets Android Auto, which means that you can link up your Android phones with it, and it also gets Apple's CarPlay system. And what that means is that this system will mirror all the apps on your phone. So when you are driving, of course, you don't have to take your eyes off the road fiddling around for your phone. You can use it directly over here from the screen. Another area where this car is truly impressive is in the utility places department. Yes, you get this huge box over here where you can keep your Diet Coke cans in, as well as a lot of other paraphernalia. You get a big tray up ahead in front of the galley where you can keep your cell phone, wallet and stuff like that. And before I forget, the door bins are large enough to keep your 1 liter bottle from your home, and they are of course lined with felt, which means that you get that sense of luxury every time you're taking that bottle of water out for a drink. But my favorite place in terms of utility places inside this car has to be this little box over here next to the driver, where you can hide away a small can of juice or your favorite drink and keep it away from everyone else in the car. And at the moment, I'll just have a sip from it. So in terms of practicality, it is an excellent cabin to be in. Well, so the back seat of the Tiguan is as impressive as the front seat, and I have adjusted the front seat as always for my height and my driving position, and my height for reference is 5'10". You can see that knee room is very good over here, very generous knee room. There's place below the front seats where I can stretch my feet, and headroom also is pretty good. Even for someone who is about 6'1" or 6'2", these seats should be pretty okay in terms of headroom, and quality again is very good. Now there is a bit of a hump in the floor panel, but it's not a very wide hump. Yes, it is a little tall, but it's not very wide, which means that whoever sitting in the middle has plenty of place to stretch his feet over here. So that also is a big boon for people who travel with 3 people over here in the second row of seats. And the backrest angle is very good, and the best part is that you can move these seats forward or push them back in case you're carrying extra luggage or need space for luggage for those airport transfers. And you also get these huge windows, which means that you get a good view of the road outside. And the door bins also are really very large. At the moment, we've kept a half a liter bottle in them. We've kept some cake for that long drive. We've kept some juice, and there's still some place for another juice. And we've also kept some face wipes. So yes, very sumptuous in terms of the load carrying capacity in the door bins. Well, but that's not all. This is also a car which has very wide opening doors, and the aperture also is pretty large enough, which means that if you have older people at home, wait a minute, let me do that again, because it really does have a very confidence inspiring thud. Yes, this is something that you will be willing to pay extra for, because remember, safety is really paramount when you have loved ones traveling in a car. And as I was just mentioning, the doors really open up nice and wide, which means that if you have older people at home, then getting them in and out of this car should not be any issue. But at the moment, I'm feeling just a little hungry after doing all that talking and all that thudding. So if you don't mind, I will have a piece of cake or two. Well, so the Tiguan is a premium and posh SUV, which means that even when you have to open up the boot, you shouldn't be using your hands or the keys. All you need to do is simply flash your leg around like this, and the tailgate will open automatically. Now this is of course an excellent feature if you are someone who does a lot of trips to the mall, because your hands will always be full with bags. So all you need to do is just flash around your leg and the tailgate will open up Well, but that's not all. The boot is also very well shaped. It's a very square boot, which means that heaving in those big bags should not be an issue. There is a bit of a lip, but it's not really a very prominent lip. You can easily slide away your stuff from here, and it should not really be straining your back too much. And if you want to increase the boot capacity further because you want to shift homes inside this car, all you need to do is simply pull these little levers over here, and the backrest will completely fall flat, which means you have a lot of area to simply slide in your luggage into. So overall, a very good car for those long and huge airport transfers and also for house shifting duties. The Tiguan comes with only one engine option, and that's a 2-litre diesel engine which makes about 140 bhp of power, and all that power is transmitted to the wheels via a 7-speed dual clutch DSG gearbox. And I have to say that refinement levels from this engine are very good. There is a little bit of diesel clatter when you start off from cold, but that is typical of most diesel engines. Once, of course, the engine warms up after about 3 or 4 minutes or about 2 odd kilometers, it does really settle down. Well, VW engineers have really worked hard on the insulation of this cabin, and they really have isolated this cabin from all the noise on the outside, so there's very little wind or tire or even engine noise which enters the cabin. In fact, when you are doing speeds of say about 90 or 100 kph on the highway, the engine really is spinning at about 1700 1800 rpm, and the cabin really does feel like a very relaxed place to be in. The 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox on this car is really very crisp and is quick-witted as well. Even in its manual mode, this gearbox is really quick to respond to your inputs and shifts both up as well as down really quickly. Well, the steering wheel on the Tiguan is a pretty light unit, which means that driving this car in the city should not really be a tiring affair. But that said, it's not so light or so overtly light that you start feeling nervous when you take this car out on the highway. This car's steering wheel has plenty of feedback, and it has plenty of feel as well, which means that if you consider yourself a keen driver, you will enjoy driving this car, especially around those bendy sections of the hill, because body roll is well under control and the tires also have loads of grip, which means that you always feel very confident when you're pushing this kind of corner. So yes, this car will manage to put a smile on your face when you are, of course, taking it across those hills and pushing it into those corners. Well, just like most other VW cars, the suspension setup is slightly on the firmer side inside here on the Tiguan, but it's not so firm that it starts becoming uncomfortable. It is within acceptable limits. When you are doing slow city speeds, some of those rumble strips might enter the cabin, so you might have to just slow down on those rumble strips. But the corollary for that is that when you're out on the highway, this car really does feel rock solid and has very good stability, considering that it is a big SUV. You will really feel very assured. Well, you can also choose different driving modes when you're driving this car. You can obviously choose the off-road mode, you can choose the regular road mode, and you can also use the settings over here to choose your own mode. It's individual settings, which means that you can decide how much weight you want in the steering wheel, how you want the gearbox to respond. And of course, if you do choose the individual setting mode over here, this car's gearbox and overall steering wheel tend to become a little more dynamic than they are and add to the feeling of sportiness about themselves. And out on the open road, this car is a very relaxing car to drive. Even in the city, this is a very nice and relaxing car to drive, and that's because the steering wheel is overtly light. You get excellent visibility all across. Yes, the A-pillar isn't very fat. You get a good view from the rearview mirrors. They don't have any bad blind spots in them, and the view from the back also is pretty good. So visibility is good, which means that driving this car in the city is a nice and easy affair and a very relaxing affair at that. And you know what, this car also has low running costs because VW claims a figure of 17 odd kpl in terms of its efficiency, and I have to say that going by our trip computer, which is showing us about 15.5 kpl, we should agree with those figures because this car's engine has still not been running. So once the engine is running and the servicing is done, it should deliver very close to that 17 kpl which is claimed. Well, so are there any major negatives about the new Tiguan? Well, certainly it is priced a lot higher than some of its rivals. Also, it doesn't have one very key feature, which is a bit of a surprise, and that feature is navigation. Yes, this car's system, the infotainment system, does not have navigation maps on it, and that is a big surprise considering the price that this car sells at, and maybe it's a big oversight that VW really needs to fix. But apart from that, it is a very good product. Yes, it is priced a little steeply, but even then, it is a car which is well worth your consideration. Well, so overall, if I had to review this car in one word, that one word would be impressive. This car comes across as a solid all-rounder. It offers you great interiors, a long list of features, a punchy and a very refined diesel engine, and solid engineering as well. And even though it might look a little expensive on the outset, do remember that some of these features are very premium and not found on cars even twice its price. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is that you should stop being a badge snob, and if you're in the market for a compact luxury SUV, you should definitely go ahead at a VW dealership and check out the all-new Tiguan. It really is worth a second look. It's bye for now and hope to see you soon.